Who to save for in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the video that we're going to be doing today. And this is going to actually be an extremely hard video to make, not because there's so many options like last year was. There really isn't too much stuff happening. If you compare it to the other years, the only thing that we're getting probably is going to be Phantom Snipers, which is the current saga going on in JP, and it's probably going to be the next saga to hit global. Also in this video, I won't be recommending any Sacred Union units just because I don't know exactly when they're coming out, if they even do come out to global, and if they do drop, I'm almost positive it's going to be alongside other banners. They probably won't have their own unique banners. So yeah, just because the randomness in that, I don't really know how to like put those on the list and everything, just because there's a chance that they may not even come out this year. Another thing that's going to be a little bit different about this top 5 is that it's not really going to be a top 5, but more so just recommendations for units, because I can't really put everybody in a top 5 because for one, I don't even think there's going to be 5 units that I recommend on this list. It's going to be like newer units, just because it's literally just Phantom Snipers, and there's like only a few good Phantom Snipers that I would consider worth saving for, or like pitying, or whatever the case may be. Also, this list will not include any crossovers. If you've seen any of the other lists, of course this won't include any crossovers, just because I don't know what's coming. I don't know if we're gonna have a rerun of a certain crossover, the case may be. I do not know. So with all that being said, let's get into it. So first and foremost, let's start off with the new characters coming to the game, which is gonna be Phantom Snipers. This will be coming sometimes this year for global, and this is already going on in the Japanese version of the game. We have a few notable characters from Phantom Snipers. One that really sticks out to me, that's probably going to be one of the better ones for everyone to go for, just because it is an amazing support unit and extremely strong. Going to be the first Phantom Sniper, by the way, to drop, and that is going to be Naruto. Haruto. To be honest, you can call him pretty much any of those and it would be right. The Haruto is going to be an earth unit. The man has some pretty insane supporting capabilities, and he is pretty much the Grand Summoner's version of Mako, but a little bit worse, and I'll tell you why. So his skill, he reduces the enemy's accuracy by 10%, really nothing crazy there. His art is where stuff starts getting a little bit spicy though. For 20 seconds, you increase all allies' arts damage by 50% and reduce the enemy's earth resist by 30%. The earth resistance is of course really nice, but you're really looking at that increase all allies arts damage by 50%, which is insane. And then his true art is he heals all allies HP by 6%, and you increase all allies arts by 5. If you're human though, you increase art gauge by 7 instead. That's pretty disgusting. That's literally pretty much what Mako's true art, or what Mako's kit does. Not only this, his abilities are pretty nasty as well. His first ability is going to be every time true art is used, you increase all allies stats by 10%, a max of 30%. Also, if you're asking me what type of Archgen type he is, this is probably the weakest point of his kit, but it is going to be type B. Haruto, like I said, insane unit, very strong, really good supporting unit, able to give you heals, able to give you Archgen, also able to give you arts damage. If you don't have Mako, I think this guy's a must-have. In any place that Mako would be used, he would be used instead and be perfect. I think if you already have Mako, this guy kind of loses some value to an extent, but if you don't have Mako, then I think Haruto is the perfect pickup. Next one, I don't really know if I want to recommend completely, but I find her really cool and a very unique unit, and that is Miranda. She is also part of the Phantom Snipers. She is a magic taunt tank, but not only is she a magic taunt tank, she also wants to be used against events that deal magical damage. So Miranda is like your everyday taunt tank. With her skills, she's going to decrease all enemies' evasion, really whatever. Her art is going to heal her own poison and curse, and then for 20 seconds you take all damage dealt and create a barrier for self, which negates 11,000 damage. But then not only this, with the true art, for 30 seconds you increase all allies magic damage by 30%, which is stackable, and you also take all damage dealt to allies and create a damage barrier for self, which negates 27,000, which is pretty insane. That constant stacking of magic damage is really good. It seems like she was really supposed to be a partner for Juno comps in certain in-game content, but the main thing is that you'll see in the skills already and the arts is that she doesn't have any type of damage resist, and the only damage resist she has is from her passive, which gives her magic resistance by 50%. If she's not against a magic damage boss, then she really is losing a lot of her value, but she will revive fallen allies once with 50% HP, and if you take damage from enemies when taunt is up, you deactivate taunt and increase own art gauge by 50. Now, if you're curious about how this works, this is whenever you're taunting with a taunt tank and they take damage after their barrier drops, she will lose her taunt, which is kind of a negative, but you increase your own art gauge by 50, which maybe will give you enough time to put up your barrier again. There is a lot of negatives with Miranda, one being meaning of course that she has no type of damage resist, like whatsoever. So she's kind of a very high risk, high reward tank, because if you use her alongside someone like Juno, which is what I'm mainly like kind of seeing this as, is that you're able to stack this pretty heavily with the magic damage. So yeah, Miranda has some potential. I don't want to say she's busted or broken though. She's very situational because she wants to be against those magic damaging comps. She has potential. That's all I want to say. She has potential. And now we're at the newest Phantom Sniper to come to JP, which will be coming to global, like I said, within the next 6 months or so probably. And that is Awoken Simon. Now Simon is very unique, but the thing is about Simon and what a lot of these Phantom Snipers is, apart from Haruto, is that a lot of them really only have one really cool thing they got going. Then everything else is kind of like, oh, whatever. And I'll show you why whenever I talk about Simon. So Simon is a dark physical attacker. His skill is going to, for 8 seconds, you inflict 10% damage taken on the enemy. His art is going to be for 20 seconds, you increase own damage by 30%. If activated during the art effect is still active, you reset the timer and add another 30% damage up, the maximum of 240%. So you're able to consistently stack this art if you constantly are doing it within the 20 seconds that is provided for the damage buff, which is kind of restrictive to an extent, but you have some really good arts generation on the team. This wouldn't be really too hard to do. His true art is going to be 36,000% dark damage physical. You increase your own arts by 50, and then for 15 seconds you decrease the enemy's dark and physical resistance by 30%, which is an extremely strong debuff. That's not it. He has a brand new true art, ladies and gentlemen. There is not one true art, there is technically two. And think of this as more of an active skill if you ever played Dokkan, because this thing activates only up to 3 times during a quest. It is called the Phantom Bullet, and this can be used up to 3 times. 100,000% dark damage physical. You increase your own accuracy rate and defense ignore by 100% during the Phantom Bullet. So it's a really hard hitting attack, which is actually really good because part of his kit, of course, wants him to stack up damage and do the big numbers. If you don't want to stack up damage and more so want to use him as a nuker, you can do that because of the Phantom Bullet. His passives are increased damage to human enemies by 40%, you increase damage during break by 40%, and if this unit does not have a stats element, you increase on attack by 80% and autofill your own art gauge by 3. So as you can see, Simon does damage. That's pretty much all he's about. Really strong physical damage dealer. If you've seen how I talked about Luan, Simon's pretty much the same way. He's a really good damage dealer, but don't confuse him for like being better than Berwick, better than like Vox, stuff like that. This man is just a damage dealer and that's it. If you're looking for something else, then yeah, Simon's not your guy. But that is actually it for the new units. Yep, I know. This is actually very weird because not all the Phantom Snipers have been released. It's a lot different than how we did it last year whenever all the Cross the Blaze units were released, you know, and also Juno was also released by that time. But what I'm going to tell you guys now is I'm going to recommend some units that I recommend you guys save for. They're possibly going to be returning this year at some point, which these aren't really in any order. All these are extremely top tier and worth saving for, worth pitying, all that type of stuff. And the first one that I'm going to recommend is going to be Juno. Insane unit. She came out last year. Very OP, literally one of the strongest attackers in the entire game. Extremely universal. Not only can she be an attacker, she can also be an arch generator for your team. There's not much else to say about her. Like, she's just an insanely strong damage dealer. Good in raids, good in in-game, good in mines. There's so much stuff that she can do. Next is actually going to be Lisa. I consider Lisa even more broken than what I initially thought of her, just because of the amount of compositions and the amount of stuff that you can quote-unquote cheese with her is insane. If you want a unit that just completely stomps pretty much every single piece of in-game content, it is going to be Lisa. And then one of the other units that I'm just going to recommend because why not is going to be Sistina. Sistina, insane unit. Whenever I first used this unit and I got her, I said that she was lackluster and stuff like that. The thing is about Sistina is that yes, she does okay damage, but you're really going to be using her to enable a lot of your other physical attackers that you have. She can also kind of act as a pseudo tank because she's able to give arts and a barrier. Very good unit and recommend saving for her if you think she's going to be coming on a banner sometimes this year. Like I said, these are a little bit more up in the air just because there's a chance that they could come back this year and there's a chance that they won't. Of course, like I always say, man, it's GS. These are very top tier units, very high end units. These are the money maker units. They're going to be coming back at some point, I feel like. And then yeah, that's actually it for the units that I recommend for this year. That is the units that I recommend you guys save for right now. Of course, Phantom Snipers is not over yet in JP. I just kind of want to throw that out there because there could be a chance that a unit comes out from Phantom Snipers that is just utterly broken. So yeah, we really don't know what is coming next. There could be an insane Phantom Sniper unit next that we don't even know about that's going to literally break the game. But I'm pretty confident with my choices this time around. And to be honest, I think I want to say this right now too, is that a lot of these units that I mentioned are very luxury units. Not a lot of them are units that like, oh my god, I need this unit. If I don't get it, it's like whatever. Really, the only ones that I would say that you need like that is going to be Haruto out of the new units. Like if you don't have Mako, that is the guy that you need. That's enough of me talking, man. We've already talked enough about it, guys. Thank you all for coming out again. It's been your boy OP. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more videos on the way to the channel. And yeah, guys, it's gonna be it for this video. Thank you all for coming out again. And last but not least, man, you guys already know, don't forget to drink water.